It's 2025, and a new kind of war is dominating headlines. Not one of soldiers and missiles, but of markets, supply chains, and national pride. This is not just a disagreement between two economic giants, it's a global chess match. And the stakes? Control of the future. The United States and China have officially entered a new Cold War, a trade war of historic proportions. And it's not just about who can produce more, sell more, or trade more. It's about who leads the 21st century. This conflict is shaping everything. What phones we use, where our food comes from, and even how countries vote at the United Nations. It's economic warfare with worldwide implications. In this video, we're going deep. We'll unpack how this trade war started, the tools both sides are using, how their economies are coping, the impact on the rest of the world, and ultimately, who's really winning. Buckle up, because this isn't just about economics. It's about power, politics, and the new rules of global leadership. How did we get here? To understand the 2025 trade war, we need to look back at decades of buildup. This tension didn't start overnight. It's the result of 40 years of economic cooperation turning into rivalry. In the 1980s and 90s, the US welcomed China into the global market. China became the world's factory. American companies saved money. Chinese workers gained jobs. Everyone won, or so it seemed. But by the 2010s, things started to shift. China grew more powerful, more confident. It wasn't just copying technology anymore, it was creating it. By 2018, President Trump launched a wave of tariffs on Chinese goods. China hit back. That was the first volley. Fast forward to 2022-23. The US tightened tech restrictions, banning advanced semiconductors and equipment from being sent to China. In 2024, things hit a boiling point. The US blocked chip exports to Chinese AI firms, citing national security. In response, China restricted rare earth minerals vital to electric vehicles and smartphones. Now, in 2025, this economic skirmish has turned into a full-blown trade war, impacting trillions of dollars in goods, reshaping alliances, and creating uncertainty across every industry. Do you think this path to conflict was inevitable, or were there missed opportunities for peace? The economic weapons being used. In traditional wars, countries use bombs and guns. In this trade war, they use something else: policies, restrictions, and economic leverage. The US has been aggressive with its tools. Export controls. US firms are banned from selling advanced chips to Chinese AI and military firms. Tech bans. Companies like Huawei and DJI are blacklisted. Sanctions. Chinese companies suspected of human rights abuses or links to the military face restrictions. Alliances. The US is rallying countries like Japan, South Korea, and the Netherlands to block chip tech sales to China. China isn't sitting still. Rare earth weaponization. China controls 80% of the global supply of certain rare earth minerals. Now it's limiting exports. Currency manipulation. China is using its currency to maintain competitive exports. Regional trade deals. China is expanding influence through the Belt and Road Initiative and BRICS. Both nations are also battling for dominance in AI, quantum computing, green energy, and electric vehicles. This isn't just a war of economics. It's a war of innovation and control. Whose tools do you think are more effective in this economic war? America's tech restrictions or China's resource control? How is the US economy holding up? Let's take a closer look at how America is doing in this high-stakes battle. On one hand, the US has made gains. The CHIPS and Science Act has boosted domestic semiconductor production. Manufacturing jobs are returning in key states like Arizona and Ohio. The push for clean energy is driving innovation and investment. But it's not all good news. US companies like Apple, Tesla, and Intel are scrambling to shift supply chains out of China. That costs billions. Prices for consumer goods have gone up due to tariffs. American farmers and exporters are losing access to Chinese markets. Small businesses dependent on affordable imports are struggling. Wall Street remains bullish on American resilience, but Main Street is feeling the pinch. Can the U.S. economy truly decouple from China, or is this just a costly illusion? How is China responding? Now let's examine China's game plan. The Chinese government is not backing down. Xi Jinping has called for self-reliance and a focus on strengthening internal markets. China is making massive investments in domestic chip production, renewable energy technology, state-owned enterprises across telecom, defense, and manufacturing. But they're feeling the pain, too. Foreign companies are pulling out due to uncertainty and sanctions. Youth unemployment in major cities is reaching 20%. China's property market, once a pillar of growth, is wobbling. Still, China is forging ahead with trade in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. It's also doubling down on digital currency experiments to avoid U.S. financial systems. China is wounded, but not down. Can China turn this crisis into an opportunity, or are they biting off more than they can chew? The rest of the world is caught in the crossfire. This war isn't just between two superpowers. It's affecting everyone. Europe is seeing slower exports and expensive imports. Germany's car industry is hurting without access to Chinese components. India is walking a tightrope, trying to attract U.S. investment while avoiding upsetting China. African nations dependent on Chinese loans and American aid are stuck in the middle. Meanwhile, countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, and Mexico are benefiting. They're becoming new hubs for manufacturing as companies flee U.S.-China tension. Global trade routes are shifting. Supply chains are being rebuilt, and entire industries are rethinking how they operate. Should smaller countries pick a side in this conflict or push for a new, independent global system? Who's winning the trade war so far? This is the big question. Who's winning? The U.S. is seeing some early gains, resilient stock markets, growth in chip and green energy sectors, strong global alliances. But China isn't folding. It still dominates global manufacturing. It's deepening trade ties in the global south. It's making long-term bets on independence. Right now, there's no clear winner. Instead, we see mutual pain, strategic repositioning, and rising risks. But one thing is clear. The world is no longer the same. The age of globalization is giving way to the age of division. Do you believe either side is truly winning, or are they both just trying not to lose? What happens next? We're at a crossroads. The decisions made in the next few years will shape the rest of the 21st century. Will the U.S. and China find a way to coexist? Or are we watching the birth of two separate economic worlds with different rules, different technologies, and different futures?
This isn't just a trade war. It's a fight for global leadership, for values, for influence. And here's the truth. This story isn't over. It's just getting started. If you found this breakdown helpful, insightful, or thought-provoking, smash that like button, hit subscribe for more deep dives like this, drop a comment below with your thoughts. Who do you think is winning? Should your country pick a side? Is economic war the new normal? Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay informed, and stay tuned.